we uh we got a little football to talk about.
A little bit.
It's
There's
been a
there's some
while.
things that have happened since we
It,
last
it's
met.
it's been a while, and I mean, you're busy, I'm busy, but I think we both enjoy the shit out of this. So sometime we'll get some
Mhm.
cadence that we could put some product out a little more frequently, right? Because there has been a lot that has
Mhm.
happened. And the most obvious is the Philadelphia Eagles are world champions again.
They are.
Again.
Congratulations, by the way,
Again.
brother.
Let me just say it again.
Mhm.
And I think that
Hey, listen, wear that shit out, brother, because I would.
it's all year
Don't
long, man.
stop, because I
It's all
would.
year long. So I'm in a like not a trash talk group, but like a trash talk group. I'm in a group chat with some friends at work, and some of us are going on a golf trip. So we have a little side chat going on. And there's like three Eagle fans in the group. There's a Ravens fan, there's a Bears fan, and the Bears fan is very vocal about the Philadelphia Eagles, as is the Ravens fan, right? Have been all year long. And I just went to Rally House yesterday, and purchased a new golf shirt and a new golf pullover to wear on our golf trip coming up in March, just to remind these motherfuckers that Eagles won. We're world champs, Super Bowl champions. Um, just I got a couple shirts. I got this shirt just says "Fly." I got another Super Bowl champion shirt. So my half my gear is going to be Eagle stuff on the golf trip, just to remind people, you know,
As you should.
as I should,
Hmm.
and it's funny because they talk the same thing that the media's been talking all year long. Nick Sirianni, and I've been critical of Nick Sirianni, right? What I've come to realize is he's probably the perfect coach for Philly.
He probably is. And the truth of the matter is, I've been very openly critical about him, and he shut me the fuck up, right? He was like, "You can have your opinion while you look at me carry my motherfucking Lombardi."
Yeah,
So there it is. So
yeah.
whatever it is, and I'm not saying that there are legitimate reasons why I have taken shots at Nick Sirianni and many others, but nobody gives a shit because he won.
Yeah.
Who he is works for Philly and his players, and that's all that matters.
I mean, they have on paper they have a team, but we've seen a lot of teams on paper look really fucking good, right?
Mm-hmm.
The fact is he's taken that product to the Super Bowl twice in 4 years,
Mm-hmm.
twice, and
Well, I think he's
probably should have
made the
won both
playoffs every
times.
year
Every year,
of his tenure, right? Yeah.
every year he's made the playoffs. He's the second
Mm-hmm.
most winningest coach active behind Andy Reid.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they just win.
Yeah.
They just win, right? And I mean, I'm not going to deny the fact Saquon Barkley is a game changer. He's a
Hold on.
game. Go ahead.
I want to back you up a little bit. And I just need to preface this for all of my fellow Giants brethren out there. I am not jumping on no bandwagon, but real recognize real. And I need to point a few things out that I admire about what the Philadelphia Eagles organization has done. So, Nick Sirianni, and you talked about Saquon, I'm going to get to him in a second, but
Yeah,
the recipe that the Philadelphia Eagles have crafted, and it's not anything new. I will dare say they took it back to the foundations of what they knew worked to build championship organizations in the past is they built it in the trenches,
yeah,
right? And not only did they build it in the trenches, they would have top flight pass rushers on their roster and fuck around and draft another one number one overall, evidenced by the fact that you guys had what's the guy that you guys sent to the New York Jets last year? I
Hassan
can't think of
Reddick.
his name right. Hassan Reddick. Hassan Reddick came into form in that Eagles defense and then went to another team and you had another guy filling his spot. effortlessly. But more importantly, what impresses me the most about what the Philadelphia Eagles has done is, and Saquon, you can't take away anything what he's done. All-time leading rushing yards in a complete season for a running back. Impressive. I don't think you really needed him to win the Super Bowl. We could see that. You needed him the regular season. He was amazing. Super
Yeah.
Bowl, you didn't need him. But the way that you guys were able to do it while losing all of your coordinators year after year and bringing new motherfuckers in and doing it just as well, if not better, that shit's impressive. Right there.
I think you have to give it to Vic Fangio too for this year, right? And we
He
talked a
should have
little
been
bit
an
about
MVP.
this.
Yeah.
He took a dude that was a special teamer and they slotted him as a pass rusher and then said, "Hey, let's put him at middle
Who's talking about
linebacker."
Vaughn?
Vaughn. Yeah. And
Who
we may
was
lose
who
him.
was almost a nobody
He was a
before coming.
nobody. He was a
Mm-hmm.
nobody. And we might lose him, but I think he really enjoys playing in Philly. He had a 1 year deal, dude, for like league minimum.
Didn't he have a diving interception in the
He
second
sure
quarter or
did.
something like that?
He sure did. He sure did. I mean, he played lights out all season long. He just made plays. N'Kobe Dean, who unfortunately got hurt at the end of the season, he started shining through, right? Like he looked like a bust, right? Like he just looked like a bust. That's
Coaching
coaching.
matters.
It's
Coaching
coaching.
matters.
You know, Jordan Davis looked like a little bit of a bust. He is a run stopper. It kind of helps when you got this fucking freak man child, Jalen Carter, who is the
Mm-hmm.
second coming of Aaron Donald. I'm going to say that right
Mm-hmm.
now. And he's mean and he's nasty, right? Like he
Mm-hmm.
is nasty.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to hold him every play, and
Milton
then
Williams.
you got Williams. Then you got Sweat on the outside. Then they drafted this dude from like a D2 school, Jalix Hunt. He balled
Mm-hmm.
out second half of the season. He balled out in the Super Bowl. Balled
Mm-hmm.
out. So Brandon Graham, he's probably going to retire, and that's okay because you got Nolan Smith, right? They're probably going to draft another D lineman in the first
Of course they are.
round.
But you change the formula now.
No. So, and then they did the same thing on the O line. You know, average age of the Philadelphia Eagles is 26 years old right now. 26. Yes, you have some older dudes in there, you have some veterans in there, but these dudes are young and they're signed and they're a problem, right? I mean, Mike is trying to recruit Garrett from Cleveland. He's not going to fucking Dallas. I'm just going to say that outright. You got Detroit spouting out of the mouth saying, you know, if we had a healthy defense, things would have been different.
I'll tell you what,
Not sure.
Miles Garrett is only at this point in his career, he's only going to a team that gives him an opportunity to get a ring.
Yeah.
He ain't going to no team that's struggling just to get the 500,
No.
which is the Dallas Cowboys. He ain't going there, but he stay where the fuck he at. Why would he
Go to
do that?
Buffalo, Philly, or
He'll go to
Washington.
Buffalo. He'll go to Buffalo.
He's going to go
He'll
to
go to
Buffalo,
Philly.
and he'll go to Washington.
Do you think that? I mean, you guys got a lot of unrestricted free agents. You're gonna the potential to lose a lot of players, and some of those players help to get you where you are. Would you rather have the money to sign four of who were there or a Miles Garrett?
I'd take the four.
You take the four.
Yeah.
I think that's smart money
Yeah.
because they know the system, they know what it means to win, they know what they have to do to win. The culture is already in place. Don't get me wrong, this is no shade at Miles Garrett,
No.
but I could get four good players instead of one great player. I'm taking four good players.
I mean, it's the way they play defense. They rotate in and out, you know?
I
So,
tell you where I would see Miles Garrett going. I see him going to Washington.
yeah, I do too. And I don't like that. let's be let's be honest. I don't like that. I still think
Yeah.
Washington is I think they're still a little bit off. We'll see what Daniels can do in his second year. We always see it. There's
What are they missing, Mike? What do you think Washington's missing?
defense, man. Defense.
Mm.
And they have a defensive head coach. So,
Hmm.
I see them
But
really
you know that they
addressing
were
that.
injured for
We
a,
put
a
we
pretty
put a
good.
50
Everybody
burger
is.
on them. We put a
Right.
50 burger on them in
Right.
the playoffs.
Right.
50 in the
And could
national
not
in the
stop the run.
championship game.
Hmm.
Could not stop Saquon, dude. Like every time he
Hmm.
touched the ball, it was a chance that he was taking it to the house.
And he was doing it on the edges too. Not up the. He was doing it on the edges. So uh, he had a season, man. I mean,
Well, and
damn.
you got to give it to the Eagles line though too. Like these dudes
You
are
have to.
they're big and they are violent, right? And they're athletic. Like I don't know if there's a more athletic offensive line. They can all get
Mm.
out and move. And when you got 6'6", 350 coming down you, running, like Mulatto was a rugby player, dude. You know?
Hmm.
Lane Johnson is a freak of nature. The smallest dude is their center, Cam
Lane
Jurgens.
Johnson is still under contract too,
Yeah,
right?
couple more years. He's
Yeah, a
got
couple
no
of years
he's
ago.
he's got no desire to retire right
Hmm.
now. Becton was a 1 year deal, so we'll see what happens
Yeah.
there. But like I mean, night and day. He was a bust, and we just picked him up, and we turned him into something good. Again, coaching.
Hmm.
You know,
Hmm.
we have the best guy in the business for the offensive line.
Hmm.
Every player that's been through says Stoutland is the fucking man.
Hmm.
And they're old school coaches. Him and Vic Fangio are old school
Hmm.
coaches. I'm not here to be your best friend.
Hmm.
You're gonna need an ice bath after practice. you
Yeah.
know, the Eagles didn't do victory Mondays. They got right back to work every day,
Mm.
every week. They
I
just
didn't
didn't.
know that.
Yeah, we'll do a victory Monday when we're done.
Right.
Coaching. It's a culture. And the Eagles are under a microscope because if they're not fucking producing, and it doesn't even need to be the rest of the media. They're going to hear that enough in Philly, right? If they're not doing something, they're going to hear it at home.
The Philly media the New York media ain't shit compared to Philly media. Oh my God. Them motherfuckers will drag you. What? They will drag you. And then they will do it to your face at the podium.
Yeah,
What were you doing out there today, Jalen?
yeah, yeah.
Oh,
And
I mean,
it's
just a wonderful season for Eagles fans for sure.
I mean, just all around. And I didn't know
Yeah.
what to do watching the Super Bowl, Atticus, right? Because
Mm.
it was 17-0. And I was like, it's still Kansas City, dude. Right. But like it looked like it wasn't going to be close. And I had conversations with friends. I said, it's either going to be a blowout or we're going to lose by fucking three.
I don't know, man. When it was 17-3, I felt like because
It
you
was
could just
17
see
nothing.
that, right, when it was 17 nothing, my apologies. You could see the energy. It was different, bro. When they were singing the national anthem, you
Yeah.
could see it, the
Yeah.
focus, right?
Yeah.
And then I think this was the point 17 nothing where we just talked about um Zach Bond
Yeah.
making that interception, or it
Yep.
might have been Cooper DeJean at that point. I was like, this game's over. I watched the halftime show and turned it off
Yeah.
because it just wasn't entertaining at that point. And I did not see it in any way that because the Kansas City Chiefs, if it were a close game, they could come back.
Well, it
24 nothing? Wasn't
it
it
was
32 nothing at
it
one
was
point?
27 nothing. And on the sidelines, the Chiefs were saying, New England did it. They were down 28-3. We could do this.
Ah,
And there's like 3 minutes left in the fucking third quarter. Eagles got the ball back. First play, first down, threw the bomb to Devontae Smith, which was just fucking beautiful, right? It was just a beautiful fucking play, just over the top,
Kudos to Jalen Hurts too, right? For
you
his
know?
performance.
I mean, it was just, and then it was 34-0. And I was like, it's over. They're not coming back because they didn't let off the gas. They went for the throat and they said, we're going to end this right now. And from that point, it wasn't fun anymore. It was just like, just get to the end, please. Just get to the end. And then I just got to say it. I think Kansas City's a little bush league. Eagles put their second stringers in, and you got Mahomes still out there throwing fucking bombs. Like, dude, game's over. Put Carson Wentz in. Let him play in the Super Bowl.
Can't do that in Super Bowl. Can't do it.
You know, well, like
You can't
they
do
put.
it. I
Oh,
hear you, but you can't do it. And not for nothing, they had to score some points. The league, this is a money league. There's too much money in it. Motherfuckers with their fantasy football leagues and picks it'd have been a riot, bro.
oh, there's already right. That last fucking touchdown screwed a shit ton of people.
I didn't even
Shit
see it. I
ton.
don't even know what last touchdown you're talking
Shit
about,
ton
bro.
of people. It was like a 70-yard bomb to Xavier Worthy. He's a problem, by the way. He's if once he learns how to run some other routes, like he can get loose on any play of the game. And I'd
Mm-hmm.
be if I'm the AFC, I don't want to play Kansas City next year. I think that they are too well coached and too good of an organization to not take it personal. Like
And they
they
were
got
embarrassed
embarrassed,
in front of the world.
embarrassed.
There's like memes that are still being created about that game. So, well, let me ask you a question. Now that the Super Bowl is behind us, and big props to Saquon for what was he, Offensive Player of the Year, right?
Offensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, big ups to him. Um, let's take a look at if you can, if we will, and we'll stay on the Super Bowl champions, right?
Yeah.
We got free agency coming up, and I'm looking at the list of. First of all, you think this is it for Brandon, right? He went out on top.
I
He's
mean,
done.
I would. He was planning to retire all year, made it back to playing the Super Bowl, and they won.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Yeah, he doesn't have anything to prove. He's had an illustrious career, and he's definitely going into the Ring of Honor in Philly, and likely, probably into the Hall of Fame at some point, right?
Yep.
But you got Josh Sweat, Brandon Graham, Zach Bond. See, as Zach Bond, he's an interesting one because he works in Philly. Will he work in other places?
I mean, we've seen this already. We've seen this story, right? Like, who was the Eagles linebacker a couple years ago?
Son Reddick. He worked in.
No, not him. The guy that went to Minnesota, I think. Maybe he went to Chicago. Edwards, TJ Edwards.
Hmm.
He was solid linebacker, right?
Hmm.
But he took the bag and went to Chicago, as he should, right? Like, I mean, he
Hmm.
was a free agent and he took the bag.
Get your money.
I think Zach Ball might be a little bit different, right? Like if Howie can
Hmm.
get close, I think he stays. But he's gonna get paid, right? Like he had an all pro season. Does he
Okay.
does he get a hometown discount? Josh Sweat, another one. Josh Sweat can go anywhere and get a bag right now.
Josh Sweat's going to get it back. There's
You
no
know,
question about
end
it.
of story, right?
Makai Becton, I think Makai Becton is a victim of coaching malpractice.
Uh-huh.
I never thought he was a bad player. I thought the Jets were a horrible organization
Yeah.
and they waste talent. So I think Makai Becton is somebody who you think about. I mean, you could get him relatively cheap. He's still young. He's 26 years old. You know, a tackle's lifespan in the league is about 18 years.
And the way that he talks about playing in Philadelphia from day one, Like
Mm.
he's like, I haven't felt like this in a team, in a
Of course not.
culture
He was on the
since
Jets, bro.
since high school, he said. He goes, this is like a high
Ah,
school team.
ah.
I mean, that it goes along.
Culture matters.
Culture matters, right? Can can Howie really do his magic to keep as many? I don't think he's going to be able to keep them all, unless he's. I mean, I would be surprised if he does, but I don't think he's going to be able to.
So what he's got in his favor is anybody goes there or stays there, know they have an opportunity to get a ring.
Yeah,
Because the financial side of it is going to be different now. Because Howie, while he has done some masterful things at amassing talent, he's really good to draft above all else. Right. If you look at your players who started during the Super Bowl, 80% of those guys, maybe 90%, they're homegrown. They were
yeah.
draft picks, not free agents, which
Well, yeah,
says their scouting department and their front office, they really know what they need to do to acquire and attract talent. However, he has, through some of his signings, kicked the can down the road with your cap space. And I don't know that he's going to, like you said, have the money to. So, like the TJ Edwards you brought up, somebody's offering you 5 million over what the Eagles are offering you. Do you take the money, understanding that you can have a non-contact injury and your career is over, right? So
yep,
you got to really make a business decision on what it is that what's important to you. Now, what's important to me may be different than what's important to another person, but that's something that's going to factor into the decision of everybody. And
yeah,
Mekhi Becton, I think that he has made it clear, like you said, through just some of the things in his interviews, he wants to stay right where he is. So he might be offered
yeah,
slightly more to go somewhere else and say, you know what, I think I'm good where I am, man. I think I'm good where I am. I mean, at the tackle position, you got one, two, three right tackles who are either unrestricted free agents or on a 1 year deal right now.
yep,
I don't even know who LaRaven Clark is. I've seen Jack Driscoll
yep.
played okay, but you need depth, right? So what do you do? I don't know.
Driscoll's a good backup, and Becton's been playing guard, but Driscoll's a good backup. Tyler Steen's a good backup. In fact, he got plenty of run on the first team this past season, right? It's not like they were immune to injuries this last season, right? They
Right,
had some.
right.
Landon Dickerson, he's got to be one of the toughest SOBs I've ever seen, along with Lane Johnson, right, and Cam Jurgens. Like, I mean, both Jurgens and Dickerson were fighting with each other about who's going to go in and play, during the championship game because they were both hurt, right? And it was like, no, I got it, you sit. No, I got it, you sit. Right? Like,
Good.
so they
That's
were
a good
both,
problem to have.
yeah.
But that's the
So
depth we started off talking about. You guys had real good depth.
so it's when you go back to what they have, right? Like Howie's got about 18 million, maybe 13 real money to play with the cap right now, which isn't a lot, especially when you compare it to like the Commanders, who got like 85 million, right?
Well, their quarterback's still on a rookie deal, so
Yeah. So they got that. Um, you know, how he likes to do that though. He likes to kick it down the curb, man.
mhm.
And if he pulls some dudes in, say you'll still get your money, but let's restructure this, right? I'll get you a little bit more today, right? And then, but it won't have the hit. Like he's a genius at that, right? So I
Well, the
wouldn't be
thing about it
surprised.
is he's done it, but it's worked.
Yeah,
You got two rings in the last 7 years, so he's
yeah,
done it and it's been effective. It's one thing to do it and you're in cap hell and that shit didn't pay off.
yeah.
It's another to do it and now you got two trophies right behind you say, this is why I did it.
Like New Orleans. New Orleans is like 60 million over the cap right now, and they're horrible. Like what are you going to do down there? Have fun, Kellen Moore. Have fun, right? Eagles are getting ready to go with their, with their fifth OC in 5 years.
Who you want?
We won't get him, but I want Lincoln Riley from fucking USC.
Mm,
You know,
hmm.
give him a second go in the pros, man. Just be an OC,
Yeah.
right? But it's also got to be somebody like the Eagle, like Kellen Moore made a shift. He said, we have an unstoppable run game, which opens up play action, and that's what we're going to do, right? And it works, right? You start with the run. And they, even though the Chiefs essentially stopped Saquon Barkley running the ball, 2.3 yards a carry. That's what he had in the Super Bowl. They still gave him the ball 25 times because there was still a threat. And you got to keep the other side of the ball honest. And kudos to the team, the entire coaching staff, for sticking with the game plan because it would have been real easy to just, load up and just go back to passing, right?
Well,
But
I want to say this too. They didn't have to um just give him the ball 25 times. Like they didn't say, okay, we got this lead, let's wear him down, run the clock. They did it because it was a part of their game plan,
yeah,
right? So
yeah,
that's a big difference.
yeah. And so the next coach needs to have that same mindset. Like it's real Gucci to say I got AJ Brown, I got Devontae Smith. I'll even throw Dotson in there, and you got Goddard, and you got Barkley that can catch the ball out of the backfield. It looks real enticing to get super crazy throwing the ball, but the way they throw the ball, it works. Like Hurts is what he is, right? Like when he is in a game managed situation, he just makes the plays, right? It's when he gets off script that he makes poor decisions. Like the INT he threw in the Super Bowl. That was a bad decision. Right? Like it was not a good one. You were running, just throw the fucking ball away, right? You
Right.
don't
That
have
was in the first quarter, wasn't
yep.
it? Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember that.
You don't have the arm to get it out of the end zone on the run from there, man, with pressure. Just throw the ball out of bounds.
Right.
And then the second bad throw, again, he was under pressure, and AJ was wide open. He just couldn't get it over the top, right? It fell short. But that one didn't hurt. So, it is what it is. But Jalen he's a quick throw kind of guy, you know. I mean, there was no hesitation when both throws to AJ Brown that were over the top were designed to go to AJ Brown. The throw to go to Devonta Smith for the touchdown, again, over the top, like that was we're just going to cut your throat right now, and it's he needs the running game because he's also a threat to run the ball, you
Yeah.
know. So when you have that threat and you can keep defenses honest, your passing game is going to open up, and you saw it, right? Like he's in the biggest games on the biggest stage, he has outperformed everyone from a quarterback perspective,
Yeah, he's played well.
you
He
know?
played well. I'm
Huh?
looking at the statistics, and he had 300 yards of production, three touchdowns, the one INT. But there's a lot of things that do not get recorded in the statistics, like keeping a play alive.
Yeah.
There's no statistic for that.
Yeah.
Like those rushing yards say something. Some of them were design runs. Others, that was Jalen saying, "Oh shit, let me bail and pick up 3 yards that or 4 yards because it's better than taking a sack or whatever the case may be."
Yep.
But there's a lot that's not recorded that because when you think about like, okay, who do we give the MVP award to in the Super Bowl? You have to weigh all of those things. Throughout the year, the MVP of the team is probably Saquon Barkley, right? But for the
Yeah.
Super Bowl, like you talked about, when I need you to shine, right? Saquon's going to shine. He did. Oh my God, the NFC Championship game, the divisional round, he played well. But in the Super Bowl, you needed Jalen to do his thing, and he did it. He did it.
I mean,
So
and even
kudos.
though they stopped him running the
Uh,
ball, he
mhm.
still had 100 yards total offense in the game. So you didn't stop Saquon, and you opened up others. I
Let me
mean, it
tell
was
you
just,
something. Saquon's presence, his presence, and the fact that Kansas City had to dedicate at least a player, if not two, and everybody else that had to have him on their mind means he was an incredible and valuable piece, a huge part. Even and I just talked about this. There are things that you can't record as a stat. Just him lining up to the right of Jalen in a shotgun position, which could be a draw. But you got to respect that. So instead of you dropping back, you're hesitating because it might be a draw. That right there might have created a play a pass play down the sideline, whatever the case may be. So everything that he did in his presence on the field, regardless of the 100 yards of production that goes on his stat sheet, was invaluable. That was a part of it. And that's why I think football is probably the best sport ever created because it requires so many different things, so many components, these schemes, these designs, these decoys that you don't have that in. What decoy play can you have in baseball? What decoy play can you have in basketball? What player just being on the field has all 11 other guys saying, watch that guy right there?
yeah,
You know what I mean?
I
So
do. I do.
listen, the Eagles are a really good team, man. They are a good team. They'll probably be a good team for a long time too, because not only do they have key pieces in place that were major contributors, they have the depth to back them up. So when somebody needs to come out for a play or two, you have no worry in the world that okay, they're going to pick on this guy because Cooper DeJean isn't out there right now. They ain't worried about that shit. They're not worried about it at all. They ain't worried about running the ball when Josh Sweat comes out for a breather, right? You got Milt Williams coming out there,
Mhm.
who's just as effective and had the game of his life during the Super Bowl. He about to get a bag,
Yeah.
whether it be from the Eagles or somebody else.
Yep.
So
And they drafted
good
him.
shit. That's what I was saying before.
They drafted him.
Like most of your players were draft picks. That Howie Rosen, man, he knows what he's doing. He's
How does the
probably the
league
best in the business.
allow how the league allowed the Eagles to get Quinion and Cooper is beyond me.
It fell perfectly in their laps. Perfectly.
I mean,
And not for nothing, Cooper DeJean, he was discussed in a role of maybe a safety more than a corner. And
yeah,
he came in and he played corner like he was the best corner college football produced in the last 2 to 3 years.
he decleated Derrick Henry. Decleated him.
They still
He
got that running on a loop somewhere.
it's
They making
just,
Derrick Henry watch that shit on repeat.
and it's funny, right? I gotta say this, between friends, there's been a lot of fucking noise with the NFL and things that are not directly about the game, right? And one of the things was the NFL took end racism out of the end zone, right? Which I don't know why they did that, but then someone posted a meme of, it's ironic that the NFL took out the end racism from the end zone, but they certainly ramped up their DEI project, and they had Cooper DeJean running the ball back for a touchdown in the Super Bowl, right? I just found that funny. It's just dude.
Hooper DeJean, who was the other one?
Reed Blankenship.
Blankenship. The only other white corner that I can think of that had an impact on the sport in the last 20 years would probably be Jason Sehorn.
That's the only guy. That's the only guy. And I'll go back 30 years. I can't remember another white cornerback, white secondary. Well, there's been some safeties out
There's been
there
a
that have
couple
been
of
decent,
yeah, a couple of safeties, but
but not at corner.
not at corner. And Cooper DeJean, he's so focused when he's out there, like he's all business, which is what you want. All that celebrating and all of that. I'm all about celebrating and stuff, but you're down 20. Shut the fuck up.
Well, that's
You
what
did
this
your
is.
job.
That's what this is, right? Like I know you've
Hmm.
seen that all
Hmm.
season long with the Eagles. It actually came from Barkley. Settle down. We
Hmm.
got 50 more minutes to play in this game. Settle down, right?
Hmm.
And that's what that was. That's we're not going to celebrate. We're gonna settle down and we're gonna keep pedal.
Like you ain't won the game yet, motherfucker.
No,
Keep
no.
playing.
There was
Hmm.
a hot mic on the sideline with Saquon during the Super Bowl, and he was
Hmm.
saying that like when they were up 24-0, he was like, "We still got game to play, right? Like we don't let up. We stay here. This is where we are. We stay here." Like, dude's a leader, bro. Like,
Mm.
I'm not gonna bash the Giants, right?
Hmm.
But how do you let someone like that leave your locker room? It's invaluable. It's
He didn't want to
invaluable.
be there though. That's the thing I think a lot of people have continued to overlook. The Giants offered him a better contract than the Eagles did, and he turned it down. And when he came back to get that contract, the market dictated that that's not the contract that you offer. Other people still saw that value,
Yeah,
right? Like obviously. But the Giants were like, yeah, but that's not what the market is saying. And
yeah.
they rolled the dice. And when they rolled the dice, I think it was pretty common knowledge that the Giants would rather look at the market over the person.
Mm,
And Saquon took that personally. So he really wasn't interested in remaining a Giant at that point.
mm,
As a Giants fan that you know, I'm a diehard bleed blue. I have been nobody in my lifetime, I think, has treated me as badly as the Giants have, right? So I got a lot of reasons to say they fucked up with that one. But I don't fault them for doing what they did and handling it the way that they did. They did try. But by the time they got to the point where it's okay, let's make a deal, Saquon didn't want to make a deal. He was like, no. He was mentally checked out. And I'm not mad at him. I'm not mad at him. I ain't mad at Shane. I think that Saquon is exactly where he was supposed to be. And he would not have continued. You think Saquon would have had that season with the
no,
Giants? He wouldn't
no,
have. And
not
I
even
also think
close.
that, listen, I think that y'all could have had motherfucking Devin Singletary and had he wouldn't have had the all-time rushing record of the year, but he'd had 1,000 rushing yards, 1,300 yards rushing. He would have been an instrumental part of the Philadelphia Eagles making it to the Super Bowl. And he would have probably produced the same numbers in the Super Bowl that Saquon Barkley did, and the Eagles would have still won. I think it's funny though that people keep saying, "Bro, I'll be walking down the street, my Giant shit, motherfuckers be like, yo, thank you, bro." What you thanking me? You're fucking welcome. What do you want, man? Like here's the
Hey,
thing that I think people don't understand either. Giants fans, real Giants fans, we're genuinely happy for Saquon Barkley. He's a good fucking dude. I'm not even talking about like on some surface level shit. Like he's a really good dude. He never
yeah,
did shit to me. And even when the Giants tagged him, right? They could have tagged him again this year. They said,
yep.
"We're not going to tag you. You want to see the market? Go see the market." They could have did that and been fucking grimy, because I think that would have been grimy. They didn't do that. Even when Saquon Barkley went on that podcast with those two guys who were supposed to be cryptocurrency investing gurus or whatever, it was like he really just shitted all over the Giants. So what? I get it. I get it. The politics of that shit is whatever it is, but Man, get your fucking bag, Saquon. Get your money. You're in a
Uh,
better situation. I say it like I'll say it to you today, like I said the whole time. I'm happy for Saquon. I wish he didn't go to a division rival, but I'm happy for Saquon Barkley. And you're welcome.
and the last thing I'll say on Saquon is I'm also a Penn State fan, right? So I've been a Saquon fan, and I enjoyed watching him run the ball. I don't say that about many rival team players, right? Like
Yeah.
I enjoyed watching Saquon run the ball 15 games, right? It's just the two. Like I keep like don't have that kind of game against the Eagles.
Hey, I hear you, brother.
you
I hear
know,
you.
I mean,
And not
Emmitt
for
Smith
nothing.
was the same way. I enjoyed watching Emmitt Smith run the ball.
Mm,
I hate the Cowboys. Hate them.
he was
I
really
like
good.
watching Zeke run the ball when Zeke for 3 or 4 years. Zeke was God, right? Like I just a violent runner downhill and always got an extra 2 to 4 yards just
Yeah.
by putting his head down and just you couldn't put him
Yeah.
back. I loved that 15 games, right?
Yeah.
Hate the Cowboys, but I like watching good players. And Saquon was
Yeah.
one of those.
It's like Brian Robinson, right? Like
Yes.
this guy got shot. Like, how can you, and he's such
Yes.
a good athlete. How can you not like to see him play? But don't do well against us.
No.
You know, it's
Like you can take McCaffrey and like whatever. I don't, I'm not a McCaffrey fan. I respect him. But it's like Pacheco's another dude on Kansas City. Like he's
Mhm.
just like Brian Robinson. Like I'm gonna put my head down and go. You know who's fun to watch is Jameer Gibbs. That kid's
Jameer Gibbs is pretty good.
that kid is special.
Chuba Hubbard,
Special.
he's pretty good too. Chuba Hubbard, he came in and played well in his absence.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's when you are a true fan of the sport. You can appreciate the talent. You're still going to show absolute allegiance to your team and say fuck the other team, but the player, you got to respect it. It's like Jalen Hurts. I like Jalen Hurts as a person. He is one of the best humans. We've talked about this on repeat. Devontae Smith. You won't find a better human, right? I hate when he doing that human shit against the Giants, but he's a great guy, man. And his humility is probably one of the most attractive. And Saquon Barkley has that aspect to him also. Is one of the most attractive parts of him. Like he's so relatable as a human. When Saquon Barkley saw the ball boy on the side of the street during a parade and bear hugged him, lifted him up, said, "You coming with me, bruh."
Yeah.
That shit right there, that's special.
Special.
That's special. That's not scripted. That's who he is.
Special.
So yeah,
And
man.
not
And
for
then you know
nothing,
what I'm sorry, go ahead.
you and I both, we don't play with the adult beverages.
Hmm.
But Saquon Barkley shotgunning a beer might be one of
Hmm.
the most impressive things I've ever. It was like he was breathing. Gone. I was like, dude, what?
I didn't see it.
You know what shotgunning a beer is, though, right?
Not
You
really.
poke a hole in the can, and then
Oh, I've seen that. Yeah.
you and it just shoots down your mouth. Like it looked like he inhaled, right?
Mm,
And I was like, back in my day, I could shotgun a beer pretty good. I
mm.
got nothing on Saquon.
I don't think I've ever done that. I might have seen somebody try it and try. I don't know, but no true
It was
history to refer
wild.
back to.
It was it
Yeah.
was it was impressive. And then when he pulled that bottle of Hennessy off that fan's fucking hand during the parade and just took a shot and then gave it back, I was like, dude, they are wild. All
Mm,
the whole Eagles. I mean, of course, right? But they were all
hmm.
slightly intoxicated, and they had the FCC and the radio controllers just losing their minds because when they were giving their speeches, every single one of them was dropping the F bomb. like at a rate that they couldn't mute it out, right? Fast
Mm,
enough. They
mm-hmm.
had they had everybody freak. I was listening to it on 97.5, and they had to cut out because they're like, we're gonna get fined, because
Mm.
we're everybody was dropping the F bomb. Everybody just up there lit,
Everybody was happy, man. I
lit.
mean, they just, how could you not be? You work so hard all year. And like the effort to win a Super Bowl starts in training camp,
Yeah,
right? Like
yeah,
there's a lot of sleepless nights, early starts to the days, like mad at the fucking play call, mad at this. Why weren't you? And then fixing the little details of what needs to be done to slowly get better and better. And then you get to the ultimate point of all that work to win a Super Bowl. It's like there's a lot baked into that. And then, one other thing I'll say about Saquon, and we got to wrap up in a minute here,
yeah, yeah.
is he's still young. I mean, he's at that age where running backs are usually starting to show decline, and he's showing the exact opposite. What running back have you ever seen in year 6 or 7 of their career break the all-time rushing record? That's when the decline is happening.
There's one guy, maybe two, right? Like Derrick Henry was still a beast in what, year
Well,
10
Derrick
now?
Henry's it. Yeah.
Is he in
Mhm.
year 10 now? I don't know. But
I don't know, but he's up there.
Terrell Davis, the two
Terrell Davis
seasons,
was special.
the 2 seasons they went back to back might be the two best seasons back to back by running back.
Didn't he have 2,000 yards each season too?
I don't know if he had two each season, but he had over two, including the playoffs.
Hmm.
Like I think he had 2,300, 2,400.
And you and I were talking about the respect that you garner for different players. And Terrell Davis, I rooted for him every time he was on the field, bro.
Yeah,
Every time. Because
yeah,
and then he was dealing with migraines the whole time of his career, too. And I would watch him and just the way he went about his business. I think his father was in the military and he would salute every time he just, he made me look at, he was one of the first people. Rich Gannon was like that too, quarterback for the Oakland Raiders at the time. But he's one of those guys that made me look at the way he approached his job. He showed me you can appreciate a player regardless of how you feel about their team.
yeah,
Good
yeah.
dude, man.
Good dude.
Hmm. I don't think he's on TV anymore. He was on NFL Network for a long time.
He only
I don't think.
played 7 years, so he was 25 and 26 those 2 years.
Okay,
He
so
don't-
he was younger.
yeah, he
Yeah,
only
he was
played for
younger.
7 years though.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
All right, so I think that's a wrap. We spent the whole show talking about, and rightfully so, Philadelphia. No, let me rephrase that. The Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles.
You don't know how good that sounds coming out of your mouth.
Hey, you guys earned it, man. You know one thing that I didn't appreciate, and I'm gonna say this to you, and you will understand and know and probably say, yeah, fuck that. Michael Strahan waved an Eagles flag and said, "Fly, Eagles, fly."
Unacceptable.
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 You could say I'm happy for Saquon, and it was all about Saquon Barkley. What are you doing flying? We
You
don't
can
do that.
support Saquon, but you're a New York Giant, bro.
You're a New York Giant legend.
You will
You're a Hall
never,
of Famer.
ever. I won't even root for the Giants in the Super Bowl. I don't care who they're playing,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like if the Giants
Mm-hmm.
ever make it back to a Super Bowl, I'm not rooting for them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't, but like, so this is the way I look at it. I watch the Super Bowl by myself because that's
Mm-hmm.
what I've done all season long. And it's what I do most years, right? Is I sit in my chair, I watch my game, Max upstairs doing his thing, right? And some friends invited me to a Super Bowl party. I said, I'm not coming, right? They're like,
Mm-hmm.
why? I said, because I'm going to get distracted and I want no distractions, right? Like there's too many people at a Super Bowl party that are not there for the game.
And I'm emotionally invested in the game,
you
not
know,
you people. And I
so
love y'all.
I love y'all, but if the Eagles aren't in the Super Bowl, I am at your party, right? But
Right.
otherwise, nah, no. And I'm not inviting anybody over either. I had a buddy of
Hmm.
mine being like, "What are you doing for the game?" I said, "I'm sitting by myself, bro. That's what I'm doing."
Hmm. I tell you what, I'm like you. I can't root for a division rival to win. However, I said to you, the Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles, because you mean more to me than any fucking sport does. So I wanted Saquon to have 315 yards in a defeat, right? But I watched what I could watch of the game
Yeah,
until it was out of reach. And I'm like, but my friends, like my real day one friends who, like, we talk all the time about this. Like, I'm
yeah,
happy for y'all. I'm happy for you guys. I'm happy
yeah,
for a couple of the. I'm happy for Nick Gates, former Giant, who broke his leg and should have never probably walked again. And he's on your roster. He was on injured reserve. He got a ring. I'm
yeah,
happy for Nick Gates, right? I'm happy for my boy Mike motherfucking Lloyd, like
yeah,
sporting that hot fucking hat. I would never wear that shit personally, but it looks good on you, right? I'm happy for my people. So there's a difference. There's a difference between supporting your friend and
yeah.
supporting a team.
And I think, and I'll end with this because we both got to go, right? But like, I think that you know, that speaks volumes, right? Like we are generally like we are fanatics of the game, right? And we like football and we have our allegiance to our team, but we also are human beings, and we respect the people that are close to us, and we need more of that, right? Like it's okay to be happy for Atticus, when the Knicks are winning, right? It's okay to be happy. I don't recall the last time the Giants were winning, so but I'm sure I was happy for you, and I would be genuinely happy for you. We would talk shit, right?
Of
But at
course.
the end of the day, I'm happy that you're happy, right? Because it's as a fan of the sport and reaching the top of the mountain, it's a really good feeling.
It is.
It's you
Because it
know,
takes so much to get there, man.
yeah, yeah,
Oh, and everything has to go right. Like you
everything.
said, man, like how does Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean, key contributors, fall in your like everything has to, and you get Saquon
And they're rookies. They're rookies.
producing better than veterans. I mean, yeah, I'm happy for you, bro. I'm
Yeah,
happy for all of my friends who just went through this euphoric experience that translated into just complete raucous to destroy a city because their
yeah,
team won.
yeah,
you know. So and
yeah,
here we are. We about to start a new season and see where we go from here.
yeah. So
So
let's wrap it up. And then since we spent the time talking all Philadelphia pretty much, we did
you
venture
earned
into a
it.
couple little things. We'll
Yeah.
jump in, we'll wrap the season up and what we think's gonna, there's a lot of movement already happening. But next
Yeah.
time we'll chop it up, talk a little bit about, what we'd like to see and what we think's gonna happen over the upcoming season.
Yeah. I think we can, we don't even have to be team specific. We could look at some divisions, man.
Oh yeah.
Like the NFC East, barring the Giants, because the Giants are, I don't even know where they are right now, but I think Dallas is going to be better than they were a year ago. Washington, if they put a couple of different pieces in place, they've already shown that they can compete with a little. Imagine if they have a few extra pieces. And Philadelphia, I don't see Philadelphia slowing down, not in the next few years anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just too stacked with talent. And like you said a few minutes ago, you got a lot of rookies in there that are contributing to what made them who they are to win that Super Bowl. So maybe we can look at some of the divisions and see some of the
Yeah.
things that are happening, and then we can narrow our focus on teams,
That'll work.
you know.
That'll
Yeah,
work.
man.
All right, brother.
All right,
We
man. It's good to chop it up. Congratulations
thank
again.
you. Thank
Go
you.
Giants.
Go
We got
Birds.
next.
Yeah. Next decade.
Next decade. Hopefully we can win more than 4 games next year. Let me say that.
Yeah.
Let me say that. So, but all right, man. It's good
All right.
chopping it up. We'll talk later.
All right, brother.
All right. Peace.
Peace.